We're gonna do a song that you never heard before.
The volume.
Here they come and get wicked. Here we go again.
Hey, it's Kennedy, my brother from another mother.
What up, bro?
Hey, man. Let me ask you this real quick. I see you already thundered up, though, man. You impressed?
Not impressed, just grateful that we did what we were supposed to do.
I saw something that is very interesting. This morning, I watched First Take, and I saw Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins having the conversation that we once had some years ago about Devin Booker. And they were saying that, hey, should Devin Booker be asking to leave, or should the Suns be trying to go ahead and move on for Devin Booker? One and the same. But the biggest question that they were asking is, who do you pair Devin Booker with? And Kendrick Perkins says, hey, he got to be the second option on another team, right? I think that it's interesting too that they both said that Devin Booker looks very comfortable in the Suns, right? And his role and all the stuff that he got going on. But I think that what was interesting is that they came to one of their topics about Kevin Durant. And they said, is Kevin Durant still an attractive jewel, a person to have on your team? Kendrick Perkins says absolutely not to him, though, bro.
Right.
Let's get the music going and we can talk about that, though, bro.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast.
If you
of all time.
smell what the rock. It doesn't matter what your name is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time.
Listen, if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to the Slash Brothers YouTube, Facebook, and our Twitch pages. We are live on all platforms at the same time at 7 o'clock EST, 6 o'clock Central. You click on the notification, you click on the bell, you get the heads up whenever your boys is doing their thing. Ace Kennedy. I think that what was interesting about that conversation, though, with Big Perk is that he came to the conclusion that he didn't think that KD was. And it seems like he is listening to us, bro, because he ran down the KD resume and said, listen, man, what reason, what proof do you have to say that Kevin Durant is the number one option? And I laughed because Stephen A. Smith ran through, here's his stats, right? And Big Perk's response is, well, what has those stats gotten outside of Golden State? Nothing at all, though, bro.
Right. And I was almost just waiting for Perk to say KD is the biggest number 2 in NBA history.
Yes, didn't quite go there. Didn't quite go there. But that would have been interesting, though.
Yeah, it would have been interesting. And I understand.
I think that they would have looked at it like he was hating on Kevin Durant, because I think that him and Kevin Durant has already gone back and forth about some stuff anyway. And I think that that's where they would have gone with it. But I think that it would have been an interesting point if he would have said at this point in his career, he didn't specifically say Kevin Durant is a number 2 option, though. That's what he didn't hear.
Yeah,
He didn't say that.
but Kendrick Perkins was almost saying he's not an attractive option for any team at this point, because it's not about what he could do for you on the court. It's the off the court stuff now that's interfering, because every organization he's left since Golden State has been some controversy behind it.
Yep. Yes,
So
here's the thing I think that's interesting about it too. I always look at Steve. So this is my thing about it. I think that Stephen A. Smith seems to look at Kevin Durant from a standpoint of what would he do on the Knicks, right? How much better he would make the Knicks as a Knicks fan, though, bro. It always feels like that way to me, though, bro. So I don't know, man.
yeah, it is very interesting. And the other thing is that what are you having to give up to get Kevin Durant?
Well, listen, I'm going to keep it completely honest. In the grand scheme of things, right? I can see Kevin Durant fitting with a couple of people, right? I can see Kevin Durant. Of course, I can see Kevin Durant, and this is what's gonna sound crazy. I think that if you put Kevin Durant back on the Warriors, I think that I don't see why I wouldn't necessarily say the Warriors wouldn't be a top three favorite to come out of the West, right? And for that matter, I don't really see why you could. There's nothing for me to believe that the Warriors couldn't beat any team out of the East with Kevin Durant with their current roster, and maybe some other things you miss some little ancillary parts, right? But I can see if you pair KD up with Giannis, if you're able to do that, I can and I can see as much as I hate it, I can see that if you paired KD up and you put him on the Knicks, let's say you give up Mikal Bridges, who I think would probably thrive better in Houston, right? I think that Houston, you'd give up Kevin Durant's points, but I think that you can make up for Kevin Durant's points in other players, though, bro.
Yeah, it just like I said, it just really depends on what you're giving up and where Kevin
You give
Durant.
up Mikal, so here's my thing. You don't think that if you was Houston and Houston says, "Hey, we got Kevin Durant out here, and we'll give you Kevin Durant for Mikal Bridges and Carl Anthony Towns."
I don't know that you're giving up Carl Anthony Towns. Uh, maybe OG Ananobley. Uh,
If you give up
Josh Hart.
OG, if you give up OG, okay, so this is my thing. If you give up OG, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges, those are like your defensive guys. So now you don't really have nobody who can guard the perimeter,
I
right?
understand, but you can't just give Kevin Durant for nothing though. Like I get it. Mikal Bridges is not going to do it by yourself and by itself. And I don't know. I think Cat might be too much. Like I said, I don't know the numbers and all the other stuff. I'm just saying what it looks like. I don't know. However, it makes it work. If he goes to the Knicks and you can keep the majority of the pieces, yes, it does make that. It does make them better because they struggling right now as presently
And
constructed.
and yes, and I think that part of the reason why is that outside of Jalen Brunson, I just don't, and this was with the Hawks. I just don't think that they can get go-to buckets. And that's maybe what Kevin Durant offers, though, right? And I think that it makes sense for Kevin Durant because he does not have the pressure of being the guy.
Detroit.
Okay. So that's a good question because that's a good point. Because I think Devin Booker would be better on Detroit
I think
because
Devin
he
Booker
is.
would be better in Houston.
Oh,
I think him,
I'm not
Van
mad at
Vliet,
that.
Van Vliet, Sagoon, and Amen Thompson, and all of them together. I think because now you getting some points. It's not the pressure of having to show up every night because you see that's an issue with Devin Booker right now, which prompts a question that I had for you. I wanted to start the show that way, but you beat me to asking a question. Um, yeah, I think KD going to the East would be good for him. But
I
my
think
question
KD
for
going
you,
to the East would be good for him.
we don't have to get off the Kevin Durant subject, but a quick segue. I just wanted to not segue, but quick question. Who's better, Devin Booker or Donovan Mitchell?
Donovan Mitchell.
That's what I
Yeah,
had too.
Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, and listen, I put this. It's not close to me. I just want to know how far apart they are. right? Because I think that Donovan Mitchell is more explosive. I think that Donovan Mitchell, him being on the court, it's more impactful. Um, like this is what I mean by that. Like I think that if the Cavs lose, I would look and see, well, how did Donovan Mitchell play, right? And if he goes off, they barely lose, right?
Mhm.
If he plays bad, then they just lose, right? I think that Devin Booker can play well and they still get smacked. That's what I mean by that. Like I could see him playing good individually, him dropping 30, but I could see them still losing by 20. And maybe it's just that the Cavs are more they're more constructed better. They're constructed better, more equipped for that. But I thought even Donovan Mitchell, I would have said the same thing with Donovan Mitchell when he was with Utah. So from that, yeah, Donovan Mitchell, and it's a very easy thing.
Yeah, yeah. I feel the same way. I
I
feel
just
the same.
wonder. Here's what I wonder though, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna keep it a stack with you, bro. And now that I'm thinking about it, I could even see Devin Booker being even the third option to on a good team, on a championship winning team.
He's
I could
turning.
see him being the third
He's
option.
he's getting close to being Bradley Beal, bro.
I don't know. You know what? I don't think that it's Bradley Beal yet. He's getting closer to being Paul George. He's already at Paul George. He's Paul George after the Pacers, but he's starting to look like Paul George, the Clippers, the later in the year Clippers Paul George, or the Sixers Paul George, as the and now he's not even the third best guy with the Sixers now, right? VJ got that. He's just a good ad. He's a good person that you have. I don't know, man. Like I think that Devin Booker, like for with all things, like don't get me wrong, Devin Booker can score it with the best of them. But it's like, and what? It's like at some point, though, it's like at some point, the points gotta equate to winning when it matters. And I understand, like, you can't just sit here, and he's been in the league now for like 9 years, I think. If that, maybe longer than that. But his team seem like they've been in rebuild mode ever since he's been in the league, though, bro. And you know that he's good, but man, at some point, the stats got to equate
Well,
to winning at the next level.
Stephen A. and them said it. They was like, bro, when are you gonna start winning though?
Yes.
Now,
Yeah, like
don't get me
here's my
wrong.
thing. Like,
They are in better shape than they were last year because they ain't
they
even make
are.
it to the playoffs last year.
The year before that, though, I mean, they were same place, lost in
Yeah,
the same round.
right. But at the same token, though, this year is with some younger guys. You got a whole brand new coach. You were full of injuries, and I listened to Devin Booker's post game, and he said, like, "Yo, I just wish we could have been healthier for more games." Because Bradley Beal went out early. He missed like 30 games. Dylan Brooks missed like 20. Jalen Green missed like 50 or however many games he missed. So now you could say that, but then you turn around. Shoot, Oklahoma City Thunder been not healthy all year.
Park ain't been there. J Dub ain't really been there for stretches. Caruso was out for some stretches as well,
Shea
though,
was out.
man. Shea was out for a little bit. I think that the only person that wasn't out for a stretch were like the role players. Mainly all of the star players were out at some point. I don't
Yeah,
remember
even
Wiggins being out, Case and Wallace. I don't know that they were out. But
they might have missed
yeah,
a game or two, but it wasn't like no substantial time.
facts. So I don't know, man. Devin Booker's a weird one, but listen, man. I think that the biggest thing is that this is the one thing that I appreciate more about the NBA more than I think most other sports, and in basketball is because your resume is being updated in real time, right? And I think that I always feel like maybe it's just me though, man. But I always that all time list, that GOAT list though, bro, is always like it's hovering over you though, bro. And it's like, where do you fall on the all-time list? And it's updated in real time. And so I think that that's the thing about it in sport in NFL, right? You can have a great all-time great wide receiver, but if he's never had good quarterback play throughout his entire time, then you think, well, what if? So you can't hold that on them. DeAndre Hopkins, for example, right? You could say, well, Tom Brady, he had that one season with Randy Moss, and his numbers were through the roof, right? Well, what would have happened if he would have had somebody like that? So I think that there are a lot of different dependencies in other sports, and while I think that there are some dependencies in basketball, I ultimately think that it's one of these sports where your singular talent could be what moves the needle. And Devin Booker is one of those next up players where it's just like, all right, bro, if we looked at your resume, the accolades and the statistics, they look decent though, bro. But as far as equating it to winning, yeah. And he's behind on the 8 ball when it comes to the all-time great list, man.
We've been teetering around this, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask you full out. If Shea wins this second MVP, if Shea goes on to win a second championship, if Shea goes on to win another finals MVP, where does that put him on your GOAT list?
Okay, so
and you, of course, you got to already consider all the other accolades that he got, and he was clutch player of 2025-26 too.
okay, here's why it would definitely bring him closer to the conversation and move him up, right? So I think that it definitely, to me, puts Shea in the NBA top 50. Like this. It puts Shea, if they were revising the 75 list, it puts him in there. So it puts him over Dame very easily on ranking, if you were ranking. I think that it puts him over Anthony Davis very easily. I think that wherever he ranks, to me, it puts him. I'm gonna say this. It puts him, to me, over Russell, bro, on the all-time list.
Where does it
So
put him?
wherever Russell is, it puts him over that to me.
Where is he in the top 10?
Oh, see, I don't think that it puts him in the top 10 for me yet.
Okay.
Right now, here's the tricky part about it with Shea, right? So the tricky part about it with Shea is that he is getting to it in real time, though, right? His resume is being updated on the positive side in real time, right? And so it's like when you see him getting it and getting these accomplishments this early on a team that's still very early on, you then start to kind of think, well, all right, now that he's gotten the numbers, right? The numbers get you into the conversation. And then when you talk about the GOAT, to me, it's greatness. It's that extra that you think that you talk about, like impact on the game, culture of the game, that being the best player. I think that that's when you start to split hairs when it comes to players who are great players, all-time great players right now.
Right. But the problem is he is impacting the game because now people want to impact. They're talking about changing rules of being fouled and how, like, they want to look at the elbow. Like when Kevin Durant used to do the swoosh move, they had to change stuff. When Harden, the step back and how he got fouled. Like now they're looking at him like they did them.
I agree with you, man. But see, I think that the people who I probably would have, if I revisited my 10, I think that the people that I would put that have in my top 10 has more rings than him. But listen,
just it don't have to be perfect. It don't have to be in order. Who you got in your 10 right now? Like if you only got to your 8.
Okay, so I in no order. I'm gonna put it in no. Of course, I would include Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, Magic. Now, let me just say that over because I don't want anybody to let me just put some clarity on this. If I'm putting this together, LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, Magic, Shaq, Kareem, Steph, Russell, not Westbrook, but Russell.
Bill Russell.
Yeah, Bill Russell, Bird, Bird's in there. And see, and this is where, to me, this is where the list starts to get more definitive because it's from 10 through 20. That's the hardest to me, though,
Okay,
bro.
let me just ask you one question and we can move on. Do you have the Admiral over Tim Duncan?
No, I don't. I don't.
You got Tim
And
Duncan
the
over
reason,
David Robinson?
yeah, I do. I do. And I think since you mentioned Tim Duncan might be right at number 10. He might be the 10th player. And the reason why I think that I got him over there though, bro, is because the Admiral didn't win a championship until they paired him up with Tim Duncan.
Okay, my last question, I promise, because you just opened up something. Where's my boy Dirk at? After you done told me about his bloody rings, where's
He got
Dirk
one
at?
ring. He only got one. I got
But
Dirk,
it's
but
how
I
he
got
got
Dirk.
them rings, though.
I get it. It's the most impressive ring ever. It's
It's
the
the blood
most.
ring.
It's
They said it's the
the,
blood ring.
yes, it is the single. Dirk has the single hardest ring to me in NBA history. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want to say it's not close, but you'd be hard pressed to convince me otherwise.
Yeah.
But if you were talking about Dirk, I got to be honest. In the history of NBA, I still think I got Dirk somewhere in the 40s, if I'm not mistaken. And here's what's crazy. The difference to me is that I think that even though like you have like a Charles Barkley who didn't have a ring, I
Mhm.
think that some people who think that Charles Barkley not having a ring is higher than Dirk having a ring, only because I honestly think that there are people who believe that during the Jordan era, Charles Barkley was the second or third best player during that era, though, right? It's just Jordan was there. So that to me means something.
All right, looking at the rest of the playoff series, we got the Lakers and Houston. You think Lakers closing it out tonight?
The Lakers got to close it out tonight. The Lakers have to close it out tonight because I don't think that, I think that for one, there's never been a team that went down, like 3-0, the possible, not gonna say never, but they always talk about the percentages, the probability, right? So I think that, but you still don't want to take the chance. You don't want to give them the confidence and everything like that. I don't know if Kevin Durant's playing, but I think that you don't want to prolong the series long enough for him to come back. So I think that the Lakers do go ahead and close them out, though, man. I think that LeBron goes LeBron and close them boys out, man.
Now, as a Thunder fan, I need them to win tonight. I need Houston to win tonight.
Prolong the series, though. So I get that, though, right? Let me tell you this, though. Let me tell you this, dog. Listen, I am not. But I never wanted to make excuses for LeBron, so I'm not, and I never made any excuses for him in the regular season, right? This season, everything he's been doing is great. Now, listen, I'm gonna be honest. I think that the Lakers have to have the worst big men that are in the playoffs right now. They are they very easily the worst big men lined up. You set LeBron aside. Their power forwards and their centers are probably the absolute worst. Like I sit there and I watch them play though, bro, and I just think of how awful they are though, man, collectively. And so I think that what's interesting to me though, bro, is that I think that when they play against the Thunder,
Mhm.
I have a feeling that the Thunder might sweep them though, bro. I think that but because of their big men are horrible like that.
Okay.
Not to say that not to say that our big men are so big and everything. I
no,
think
they
that the
just play well together.
yeah, they play better. I think that, but this, I like that I saw in the interview that Chet said that when they play different lineups, that he likes the Hart lineup because Hart throws him the alley oops all the time and everything to get you going. I listen. I just honestly believe, bro, that the Lakers big men are more likely to hurt them than help them in every single game that I've ever seen. It's just like if they play kind of good, the Lakers will win. But most of these times, though, man, I'm watching it and it just seems like they are out there almost like trying to cost them a dub, though, bro. It's just it's terrible, man. They're hard to watch, though, bro.
Denver and Minnesota. Who you got?
And I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised at how this series is going. It's the toughest one. If Ant doesn't come back, I think they're gonna go 7 games, though, bro.
Do you think Denver ultimately is going to pull it out?
If Ant put this, if Ant's able to come back by for that 7 game, I think that they will win. That the Timberwolves will win. The reason why I think that is because you had your chance to get your lick back when Ant was down, and y'all let my dude come off the bench and drop 40 on y'all. And so if you can't take that game, then that was the one that I think that they would have need to turn things around. But I don't think this is I honestly don't. You know who you're talking about? Jaden Daniels was talking about, oh yeah, they don't got no good defense. I honestly believe that the Timberwolves think they're so much better than the Nuggets, though, bro. They just got Joker. And listen, Joker isn't playing very well against Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert has been holding his own against him.
This last game, he put it on Rudy, though.
Yeah, but still, though, I mean, but that was this last game. He dropped a triple-double on him, and that's cool. I get it. But at the same time, Rudy Gobert has been doing a respectable job on him, though, man.
Yeah. He has. Speaking of them, there was a little bit of controversy at the end of game. What they are? It's was it 3-2 now, right?
Yeah.
So game 4 for them. The end of game 4. Mike throws the lob, and oh boy goes down, hits the layup. When everybody's kind of like doing the traditional NBA surrender, he ain't dunk, he ain't hyped the crowd up, he ain't Vince Carter put his elbow in the rim, he ain't even bounce it and then dunk. He ain't do nothing. He just did a plain, simple, just clean little layup. And Joker took exception to it. What we doing about it? Is this a big to nothing?
They find I think they find a few people. I think both teams have players that got fined on. I think it's a bit nothing. But here's the thing about it. It's always been that's been one of those long running NBA unsaid rules that you let the clock run out or whatever though, bro. And I honestly, like I said, I honestly think that the Timberwolves just don't like the Nuggets. So you gotta really not like them to violate those unsaid rules because I honestly believe that bro knew that, right? And so because that's something that's a basketball rule in general, though, right? With that being said, though, bro, I can't be as an outsider looking in. I can't be but so mad because if you felt that strongly, you would have had your people turn up more so that you don't have to worry about doing that, right? You like don't get mad at the end of the game.
But let me ask you a question. When it's trash time minutes, both teams empty the benches, and the squads come in, and they still out there getting buckets until it's 0. Nobody don't say nothing about that.
Because the Thunder is going to try to run it up on you. Listen. When the Thunder clear the bench, they trying to go. They get at you, though, bro. It's no letdown.
Until it's 25 seconds left, and then they dribble it out. They did it the other night. They do that. Mark, you'll see Mark while he's chewing that gum, squinting his eyes. He gonna give him a little nod, and then they just dribble it out when it's about 25 seconds left. But before that, It's open game.
Yeah, I'm not. Listen. I understand that when you say, "I we surrender," right, and then someone just goes and rub it in more. I guess I understand that in the tradition of basketball, that it's just been one of those things that you just follow suit.
Yeah,
But
regular season, I
young boys,
understand that, but playoffs, nah, ain't no mercy, bro.
I don't know. Yeah, because what if this was the last game, right? It was what if that was game 7 and he did it? It's like, nah, I'm packing y'all up. All I'm not. I'm not mad. I'm not now. Now, with that being said, if I was playing if I'm playing in my rec league, right?
Yeah.
And somebody goes out there, and at the end of the game, we already up, we already down by 20, and they about the mercy rulers, right? I'm not that mad because it's like, bro, how mad could I be? If I was that mad, I would have stopped the 20 piece, though, right? So I don't know, man.
Now, like I said, if he would have went down there and dunked emphatically, I might have understood. But he just laid. It was just a layup, bro. It was weak, bro.
It was listen, and I'm
Here's
gonna
the
be
thing,
honest with you, bro.
hey, they should have fined Joker the most because he instigated everything. Because what if, as you're approaching, he swung and knocked Joker out just because you coming at me fast? I don't know, and I knocked Joker out.
Me personally,
uh-huh.
me personally, I respected that it was Joker, that he didn't stick the goons on you,
Yeah,
that he is sending a message to his boys like, nah, this ain't popping. So I'm not mad at that it was Joker.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that it was Joker either. I'm just saying if you gonna do that, then you know that you just like when Devin Booker was talking about the refs, he knew he was getting fined. Joker knew he was getting fined or whatever, suspended, whatever. So, but I'm just saying you instigated it, and that could have went so left because you approaching me fast. I don't know what you're doing or what your intent is, and I just swing and knock you out. It's over.
Not like I said, I'm not mad at it one way or the other. I'm not.
ATL and the Knicks, who you got?
Atlanta, I told somebody at the gym because I hate the Knicks. I picked Atlanta to win in 7 games, though, bro. And I'm sticking by. I'm gonna stand by it. I think that this is gonna be the collapse of the Knicks. I think that in this offseason, they're gonna probably be contemplating blowing it up. I think that the Hawks is gonna win in game 7, though, bro.
All right. Then we got the 76ers and Boston.
I think that is Boston. And listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that Joel Embiid coming back and starting him is hurting the Sixers, though, bro. I think that you could have just brought him off the bench. And I know that with respect to him and his history with the team, it's like, nah, I think that he messed up their chemistry because I don't think that they take as many shots because their pace isn't as fast now, though.
Okay. And then we got Orlando and Detroit.
Listen, man, I feel terrible for my boy Cinematic, but I think that the Pistons are about to lose, though, bro. I just honestly, this is the thing. I honestly just don't believe that the Pistons have enough offense. And I don't know what the difference is now, right? I think that so like Jalen Duran is his offense is just he's like averaging like 19 point. He was averaging 19-20 in the regular season, all-star. He's averaging half of that. And so now when you take his half of his points away, and Cade is turning the ball over because I think he's trying to force some stuff to happen. His numbers, if you look at just his points, it looked like, oh, he's killing it though, bro. But he's taking a lot of effort and a lot to do it. And I just think that Orlando just has more offense and they play defense as good though. So I think the Orlando gonna win, bro.
And finally, the Cavaliers and the Raptors.
I think that the Cavs are going to win. I'm just surprised that it's taken as long, though, bro, for it to look like that. Like the Raptors have really been playing pretty good, though, bro. And I just thought that, listen, Cleveland. This tells me, though, bro, that Cleveland's going to take almost every game to the max, like every series. They're gonna go 6 or 7. It ain't gonna be no 5 games. It ain't gonna be no 4s. If you can't beat the first round team, if you can't sweep them, you ain't gonna sweep nobody at all. And I think that because of that, they're gonna get caught up where they're gonna take long to close a team out, and whoever they're gonna face has been waiting, chilling, right, resting on up. I feel terrible though, man, because I think that Cleveland is a good squad, but they're not closing out these teams fast enough, though.
All right. So the NBA unveils anti-tanking proposal explaining rule changes for draft lottery. They said that the NBA has disclosed to the 30 general managers a new anti-tanking draft reform termed the 3-2-1 lottery that includes expanding the lottery to 16 teams, flattening the odds, and where the bottom 3 teams will be penalized with fewer lottery balls for the number 1 pick starting in 2027 draft.
Yeah, hold on. How do they how do they determine who they suspect to be tanking, though?
No, so the thing was that prior to this, right, they're saying that a lot of teams were tanking, trying to increase their odds to getting the number 1 pick. So this would deter you from trying to do that, because being in the bottom 3 doesn't give you, it actually hurts you.
Tell me the rules again. Tell me the rules again.
Okay. It says the 3-2-1 lottery expands the lottery to 16 teams, flattening the odds, and where the bottom 3 teams will be penalized with fewer lottery balls for the number 1 pick. And that's supposed to start in 2027. So you being in the bottom 3 doesn't increase your chances of getting more picks.
I get that. And if that's what they're gonna do, then that's cool. But then here's my thing about it, though, right? I guess you gotta, that opens it on up, because to me, this is where I think that the Hawks used to be really the Hawks used to kind of be getting killed for years, because they would always finish in the middle of the road. So they would be like that team that's just outside of the playoffs. And so I think that because of that, though, now it's almost like it's not a death sentence that you don't make it, but at the same time, it's not a guarantee if you do get the lottery by having a sorry record. Everybody used to always say either you're rebuilding or you're trash or you're contending. You don't want to be stuck somewhere in the middle. And so I think that because of that, though, man, if this kind of balances that out, though, man, then yeah, that gives it where somebody who is like, let's say, for example, imagine if they had this going on, and let's say the Hornets are in the lottery, and then they actually, with their team that they currently have, if they got the number 1 pick this time around, though, right? You add the number 1 pick on top of who they got, and then boom, now you're talking about, you could be saying, well, the Hornets, y'all looking better now, y'all cool, and all these teams that are taking for it, though, man. Sorry, hope that there's better, talent in the lottery, though, man. So I like it, though, man. It's I'm not gonna say it's a bad thing. It's about
it's trying to decrease the teams. It's trying to minimize the amount of tanking, so that you're trying to get a better lottery pick. Like, it's gonna make people be more competitive, because it doesn't help you by losing to get a better lottery.
Well, listen, because the Utah Jazz has made it clear that they take it. Them boys are just playing they young. And listen, I think that the one thing I can respect about what Utah's doing, though, is that Utah is tanking, but they're playing all their young guys. Right there, they had the boy Triple J sitting out, had him go ahead and get the season injury surgery. And I think that what's happening, though, man, is that in the meantime, though, they're playing all their young guys. They're getting all their young guys minutes up. They got Larry Marketing, who I honestly don't think is going to be a part of their long-term plan, but they're playing him long enough so that people can see he still got it. And I think that based off of, it wouldn't surprise me that based off of this lottery, if they determine if they're going to actually keep him, even though they extended him, I just don't see him. He's like in his 7th year. And so I think that when you got a 7-8 year player, it's like, I don't see how that fits in your plan of a team that's just fresh off of tanking, though, right? Yeah. So, but they've made it no secret at all that they tank it. And so even, I like I said, very curious to see how this one goes, though, bro.
Yeah.
Very curious.
Shout out to Belinda Oakley. Appreciate you with all your comments. Hey, man. There's somebody that's got to get traded ASAP, bro.
Who that?
We got to get Klay out of Texas, bro.
Hey, man.
We got to get Klay out of Texas, bro. He got to leave the Mavs ASAP, bro.
Listen, man. I feel split on this one. Let me tell you why. Okay, let me just ask you this. Let me ask
First
you
you got to
this.
tell the people what's going on.
Okay. So this whole conversation came out to be a thing because Megan the Stallion, the Texas treasure who should be protected at all times and at all costs, came out and said, "Hey, you know what, man? This would hurt the hot girl, man. I'd have met this man family, and this boy was out here cheating on me, though, right?" So
Ain't
they
all
broke
she
up.
said. She said that she had to deal with all this man's emotions throughout the season and his
Yes,
mistreatment of her while he was going through said emotions because he was having that up and down season. She had to put up with all of that.
man. Listen, man, listen. And then the boy Klay says on his live that she cheated on him, right? That someone said, and I don't, I went down this rabbit hole, and I don't want to put out what's false, but alleged. So I'll say allegedly. I think that he said that he put an air tag in her purse and popped up on her while she was at dinner with somebody else. Like they basically said, no, the hot girl was doing hot girl ish, bro. And so my thing is that I don't know if both things can be true. If both things are true, I think that absolves Klay, right?
Now, allegedly, I heard that she asked him for an allowance because he was an NBA player. And he said ever since she asked for that, then he wasn't, that's when the relationship went sour for him. The other alleged thing that I heard was that he told her, like, look, I'm not trying to be monogamous. That he told her up front.
I think that so there's a couple things that I think that's interesting too. Clay said though, man, he spent $4 million on her. He said that'll never. He said he'll never be in a relationship again. Now, when he say 4 million, I know that they bought a house. I don't know that he gave her 4 million. If he just said I spent 4 million dating her, whatever, whatever, though, right? But I also think this is my thing. All right. If you've been billed, when you say this is my thing, because that almost pissed me off just thinking about that. When you say, "Hey, because you're NBA, if you giving me an allowance," like that to me, that sounds like how the girl Young Miami was on an allowance with the boy Diddy, right? And then it's just like I understand that Diddy has the most money, right, than her. But I guess I'd imagine that you got your own ends, right? You got your own money, so my thing is that why do you need an allowance? Because I'd imagine that if you're her, you had a certain lifestyle that you was maintaining on your own, though, right? So what does being with Klay, how does that change that lifestyle that you were already maintaining? I thought, if anything, that makes them from a money wise not equals, but she wouldn't feel like she's having to take care of somebody else who's let's just say, for example, all right, if Megan the Stallion, if you and I, as if we were single, she got us on bread, right? So she would be up. I couldn't maintain her lifestyle. So if she wanted to do something lavish like that, she'd have to look out for the boy, though, right? All right, so I get that though, right? But my thing is that if you already got it, then what's the point of you saying I need some kind of allowance on this? It's not looking good for the hot girl though, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It's ongoing because, like I said, more details is coming out. It's gonna get messier and
Now,
messier.
it is. Now, let me tell you the one thing that I think that's crazy. One of the things I think that is interesting, though, man, is that you got some people who are not everybody is an NBA fan, right? So to some people, though, bro, they were like very casual on Clay. Like some people were like, I see some people on TikTok like, he got some kind of nerve. He wasn't even popping until she wound up linking up with him. And I'm thinking, like, wait a minute now, bro. Y'all don't you could be so casual that you're talking crazy. And then I looked at Clay's resume, right? You run through Clay's resume. He does look like he has a type, and she looks like she's not his type, right? He did so. Here's what's funny. He also, from what I understood, dated Coco Jones, right? She's getting ready to marry Donovan Mitchell, who we talked about. And it was a short-lived relationship or whatever. But those two look like they're more of the exception of what he typically goes for, right? Impressive. Listen, Klay may have a resume that he might need to step to the carpet if we're talking about Bow Wow, Nick Cannon. You might even argue that Clay's is more impressive. Here's the question that I have for you though, Ace Kennedy. I know that we talk about double standards, but do you think that women look at other women's resumes the way that men look at that? Like we look at, I'm telling you about Klay. We talk about Nick Cannon. We talk about Bow Wow. And we think like, man, that is a mighty impressive resume. But do you think that women look at other women and they say, "Oh, you dated this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy," and they think, "Dang, that is pretty impressive."
Probably not, because women are so private and they don't want you to know who's on their resume. I don't think they look at that as a badge like we do. So no, that unfortunately is just going to stay the standard of what we look at as far as double standards for the classic men versus women trope. So I don't think so.
I think that it is one of those things that I do believe interesting because people are now calling into question. They running through my girl Megan's whole dating history as far as everybody know, bro. The ones that were more public or the alleged ones, right? And and they run it through Clay's. And like I said, when I'm looking at the comparison, right? And I'm thinking that, all right, well, you know what? I'm looking at Clay's, and as a guy who is very, it seems like Klay is very comfortable with being the bachelor, though, right? I think that he could be a lifelong bachelor, and if that's the route he want to go, then that is all fine, though, right? I think that, but then it's like when you look at Megs, and she has some guys, and I think that she were like celebrity guys, and she's at least allegedly had some relationships with and everything like that. And I guess when you look at the number of guys and how long you think Meg's been popping now for what 7, 8 years now, and so you think that within 7, 8 years, if you got this resume built in 7 to 8 years, though, bro, and Clay's resume goes back, he's been in the league for 10 plus 12 years though, right? And so I don't know, man. It for some reason it doesn't look as, maybe to my male eyes, Clay's resume I think doesn't look the same as Meg's resume, regardless of what high profile guys Meg has dated though, bro.
I mean, it's just unfortunately these relationships are more public than anybody else. So that's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Them boys, they put it out there like they can be doing the verses.
Hey, what else we got, man? Before we end this on thing, bro.
Oh man. Hold on, I done missed a spot here. Golly. So we tackle the playoffs.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I'm missing something's right on a golly, boy.
Why you looking that up, bro? Uh, it's Usher, baby.
Are you going to the Usher concert, bro?
Come on, bro. That's like asking me if Tank was coming to Oklahoma City, am I going to see him? You know I'm going to see that boy Ursh.
Is he coming to Oklahoma City?
Not coming to Oklahoma City. He's going to they're going to Arlington.
Okay. Oh, you know what? That's the other thing too that we were talking about. This is this interesting thing though, because I do have the Usher and Chris Brown on the list. Here's what I'm wondering. Okay, if you're watching those two and seeing that we were talking about where I think it is so phenomenal about this tour, right? We were talking about what the comparison would be, right? To who are the two female artists? I think that one of the things that's interesting is this, that this kind of came about because I think a lot of people are talking about the verses. So, with that being said, who would you anticipate out of these two being on tour would be the more entertaining set between Chris Brown and Usher?
I think it's gonna be Chris Brown only because Usher's older. Now, don't get me wrong, Usher is still performing at a high level, but
Yeah.
Usher's not flying over the crowd either.
You think it's gonna be one set after another? Like you're gonna say, all right, this is all the Usher, or is it gonna be intertwined? Because I'd like
No,
to
to
see
Usher or
them. I like to see them do mixture. I don't want to see them say, "All right, let me give you 10 Ushers, then boom, here go 10 Chris Browns," and they add. I like to see them mix it up, though, bro.
it don't bother me either way because I mean, I think both of them, their catalogs. I mean, this is probably gonna be one of the biggest tours ever, bro. Like,
I think
if
so.
to me, this is the adult version of the Scream tour. Even though the Scream tour now they're grown, but that generation grew up with them to that point, and I feel like we grew up with Usher and Chris Brown, so this is our version of it. So I don't know.
I
I
mean, the
like it.
fact
I
that
like
Chris
that these
Brown, I believe, was on the Scream tour, though.
he was, but he also separated himself from them quicker, though, right? Like you look at Chris Brown, went after that the album when he was 16, bro, he went straight
You know what
adult.
I think? I think that all of the other this is the one thing I think that where Chris Brown separated himself for. To me, the Scream Tour is the people who made songs for that era. And I thought that Chris Brown kept going, right? He transcended that particular era to where now he can do something and he's a current artist who was around during the Scream tour when Bow Wow was still popping, when Pretty Ricky was still popping at their primes, Chris Brown was still probably one of the hottest act. And so the fact that he's been able to keep going is a testament to how incredible his step forward was.
Chris Brown followed the Usher plan. Both of them were teen artists when they came out. Both of them was like 16, 14, 15, 16 when they came out, and then grew up and had better success as adults. Whereas Bow Wow, Omarion, them, they're touring off of their classic
Yeah.
stuff. And don't get me wrong,
Because
Usher's adult albums did better than when he was first came out. So
yes.
yeah,
That is an interesting point because here's the thing about it. Like, okay, so who from the Scream tour has made better songs than that era? Right. So like
I don't know what you just said.
Bow Wow, but this Bow Wow hadn't made any better songs, better music. It hasn't been more
Omarion
successful
did.
like that. I'm not gonna say better. It hasn't been like this. It hasn't been to me. Bow Wow hasn't put out music that was more successful than the last Bow Wow Omarion collab album. That was it though, right?
Yeah,
Now Omarion has had maybe one or two
bro.
songs.
Nah, it's more than one or two, but let's
What songs?
Entourage,
No. See.
Icebox.
I look at the okay. So I look at those. I look at those songs as songs from that era. I'm talking about he's 30 plus now. So what songs have Omarion did? I think he's only had maybe one or two that I thought that were better than not that were better. They were as good as 30 and up Omarion.
I mean, I beg to differ, but you won't classify them as better. But I like the song he has with T-Pain. I like the song he has with Chris Brown and Janae Aiko.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was the one that came to mind.
And then I like the new one. Not
He
not
got this
the
new song that's really dope though, bro. I saw a video,
yeah,
a clip up for it though. It's real dope.
not that one, but I'm talking about the one he did on the it's oh my god, I can't I'll tell you.
He got a nice little song right now though, bro, where you can throw that thing on and get you a nice little two-step to it though, bro. It's
Yeah,
pretty dope, man. I was like,
it
yo,
is
this is
serious. Serious is that joint.
mm, the one we talking about or the one you talking about?
The one I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that that's the thing about it, though, man. It's like that's. I thought, oddly enough, though, I thought that the boy Mario was gonna be one of the people who could keep transcending to making punters. I thought that he'd be able to keep transcending to continue to make great grown-up music that's as successful as his teen music, because he could just naturally sing, though, right?
Right.
And
He,
then
he
it's
didn't
just a matter of, I
he
just
didn't
don't think he kept the popularity.
he didn't capitalize off of the versus success. He tried to do something that was so like the next album he dropped was so eccentric. It did not connect. He tried to do a era album, and instead of just like linking up with some dope, getting Neo to write him another new one or something, like he didn't do that. He didn't capitalize off of it.
I just think even before the verses, right? I think that, to me, everybody knows Mario can just sing, right? So I'm saying even before the verses, right? I'm talking about, like, not to say he just fell off, but his hot streak ran out,
No, he wasn't
and
that
it's just
consistent.
like, right. That's probably the biggest thing, is the
Yeah, but you
consistency. It's
you
like,
had you had an opportunity of a resurgence right after verses, and now it's like, oh shoot, I forgot you did that, and oh, you can sing, and boom, it should have been ready to go, new, like a nice, dope little whatever. But and so like I said, when your follow up to that is this experimental album, then you lost the steam, and now you right back to
yeah.
doing what you did before verses.
Yeah.
So
I wanted Mario to really take off. I used to really enjoy his music, though, bro. Even his music that was like the I Can Hear Your Voice Crying for Me, that Mario was still like, it wasn't his early stuff. It was like, all right, it's a little bit more mature. And then after that, it just kind of sailed away, though, bro. Still
yeah.
like him, though, man.
Well, look, man, we appreciate all the new people that stepped up and said what's up to us today. We are the Slash Brothers from ATL to OKC. We're live every Tuesday, 6 Central Standard Time, or Central Time, and 7 Eastern Time. And we will see y'all on the next one. I'm Ace Kennedy. That's Charlie V. We out.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast.
Can you
of
dig
all
it,
time.
sucker?
Yep.